Yeah, that about covered it right there. Well played, Dylan. Nobody needed to hear any more or any less than what we just got.
That was
right there.
The best moment of the game yesterday for the Jags, I would argue.
Oh?
That was the moment the streak for Christian McCaffrey officially came to an end. When Debo didn't go down at the one, and if I'm on the sideline when Debo comes over, he's like, you got no respect for history? You're like, you can't go down at the one, give me a shot from right there? No, you just got to go trouncing in the end zone like it's all about you, Debo.
Yeah, it was our defensive play of the game yesterday, Dave. The pass breakup on fourth down to Christian McCaffrey, because what else would have been your defensive play of the game yesterday?
We had to have some kind of silver lining. Stopping him from getting in the end zone, silver lining.
Brandon McManus perfect on field goals. That's
what
kind of your silver lining yesterday. There's not much good, and we're not going to try to sugarcoat it for you today. The Jags got embarrassed yesterday, 34-3 at the hands of the San Francisco 49ers. If it was a measuring stick, a litmus test, whatever, you failed every test, every measurement as a Jacksonville Jaguar organization. Now, here's the good thing. Nobody's voting on who gets to be in first place.
No.
The Jags have voted with their 6 wins, and so they're still a first-place team. They're still so far ahead of where they were last year, but those hoofbeats you hear are not the Colts coming up behind you. They're the Texans closing the gap on you right now, and the Jags are going to have to get that one out of their mind in a hurry, Dave. I know it sounds cliche, but this game only defines you if you let it define you, right? This game can define you if it's truly indicative of how you're going to play against top-level competition going forward. Or do you say, enough's enough, like Dallas did? Dallas lost 42-10 to the same San Francisco team, and in the 4 games since, they've won 3 of them, and they came very close to beating Philadelphia, who is arguably the best team in the National Football League. So they got beat down, got embarrassed, but they bounced back. The Jags now, that is their test. They have to go and prove that they're capable of doing the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, you never want it to happen, but sometimes you need to get your butt beat so that you can be humbled, brought back to reality, and say, you know what, we are not there yet. But that's okay. We still got games in front of us. We still got an opportunity. We're 6-3. The sky is not falling, even though it seems like it's still falling today. Gosh, the weather is just awful, just like how we played yesterday. But, there is still plenty of football left. That's the good thing. Just like you said, the Cowboys have bounced back from their beatdown that they got from the 49ers. So we can do the same. And we can still find that fire and keep the, pedal to the metal. We can stay hot if we can bounce back from this, lick our wounds, and keep playing ball.
Yeah, got to beat the Titans next week, and it feels like the Texans game is becoming more and more of a must-have game here in a couple weeks. But for you, you were in locker rooms that dealt with losses, right? You know what it's like to even be beaten bad, potentially on a Sunday, right? And you know what a typical Monday felt like, even after a close loss. You know what a Monday felt like in an NFL locker room when you get beat badly. What typically changes? Right, from a typical Monday to the what do teams typically do different to get back right for the next week?
Well, sometimes your coach will come in and say, all right, we're burning everything that we had that happened yesterday, and we're moving on. You can go into your position groups, watch maybe 10 or 15 plays that we need to work on, but we're getting this out of our system right now. We are moving on way faster and sooner than we normally do in a given week. Or you sit there, you have the whole team, you watch the whole thing, you coach them hard, and you say, look, we went through that. It was a terrible 2.5 hours of watching film together as a team, but we did it, sucked it up, made it through it. Now it's time to move on. You're trying to move on as fast as possible. And they're saying that. And then everybody's attitude tries to change as fast as possible, because the longer you let it linger, the more it lingers into that week and into the next game.
Boy, I tell you, the thing that really struck me was yesterday after the game, Doug Peterson made a point in his conversation with Bucky Brooks on the postgame, and I'm sure, in his other postgame comments, that they didn't seem ready to play.
Yeah.
Right? Like that the intensity wasn't there, whatever the case may be. And Trevor Lawrence is like, hey, we had a great week of practice. Hey, everybody was excited to play. And Doug seemed to indicate that they were flat, that they weren't up for this game, at least on game day. I suppose both things can be true during the week. Maybe you get this sense that you're going to be ready. Dave, how does that happen? Coming off a bye, did they start to read their own press clippings? Did they start to believe that, hey, doesn't matter, we're going to show up, we're going to find a way to win every game? I mean, that seems like a great oversimplification, but it's not like you had the Arizona Cardinals coming in, right?
Yeah.
You overlooked them. This was San Francisco. You knew they were on a losing streak, but you knew how talented they were, and they weren't talking crap. They were saying, hey, this is a litmus test for us, too, coming into this game. How do you not meet that moment?
It's weird. It's sometimes you get into the game and you think, we are ready. We've done everything this week to be prepared, but you don't match the intensity. So you come out and you got your X's and O's dialed in and all that kind of stuff, but you start getting popped in the mouth and you're like, oh, shoot. Oh, these guys are coming off a 3-game losing streak, and they are scrapping much harder. So then you start to try to turn it up, but has everybody turned it up? Or is it just a few guys that have turned it up? And so when you don't have your whole team coming in on the same plane, same mindset, everybody's out here like, guys, we're fighting for our lives. Whatever we got to do when this game starts, we got to get it going in the beginning. Not let's wait to see how they come out. Sometimes you do that. You kind of gauging them. How are they coming? Ooh, they're coming out ready to play. All right, guys, we need to flip a switch now. That's too late.
Too late, right?
It's too late.
Bucky Brooks said yesterday, Tony, in the postgame with us on the Scoreboard Show, it's, I don't want to overstate the comment, but he said, maybe we're too concerned with, how cool we are in the pregame. You know what I mean? Like we're out there like, hey, man, we've won 5 in a row. I don't know. He's out there. I'm not, But it was an interesting comment that he made that maybe instead of being that intense, focused, this is our job today, almost angry, we're out here. We're like, hey, man, everything's good. We're 6-2. We're the Jaguars. Everything's pretty good. That doesn't mean we're not going to play well today. But, that almost like this sense of kind of just floating through. And he's like, hey, man, maybe we need to get Doug Peterson kind of cranked up on their butts even before the game kicks off. Yeah. I just thought it was an interesting comment because he is out there and he is in the midst of whatever mood he's picking up off the field.
Well, whatever's happening at home is not working, right? No. Like they're just a bad team at home so far this season. They got to figure that out, right? You got the Titans coming here this week. You can't afford another one of those for sure. You can't lose the Titans this week. And you think back, look, that game was 13-3. At halftime yesterday. It felt like the defense after that opening drive especially, they calmed down on that side of the ball and got themselves back into the fight. The offense was trying to find its footing the whole time, right? You come out of the halftime locker room, it's like it's a 10-point game, guys. They're getting the ball first. Find a way to get a stop. Give your offense a chance to really pull yourself back into it. Well, then Kittle goes, right? And that kind of like against Houston when they were on that way, it felt like they're coming back. We're getting back into this. The kickoff happens, and everyone's like, we're done, right? Like that's what it felt like yesterday in that game. Again, it was that big play happened for Kittle, and everything, the floor just collapsed underneath those guys, and they knew 20-3, it's done. Today we can't get it done.
All right, today, if you want to make a comment or if you've got a question or just want to join the Jaguar conversation as we try to figure it out, somebody on Twitter in response to what is your reaction to yesterday, which was our Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day. Yesterday, I was pissed off. Today, I'm moving on. What else is there to do? Jag should be embarrassed, though. We don't have that option. We're going to be here till noon talking about this game. We got to wallow in it a little bit and look at the things that they did wrong, which is basically almost everything, but try to figure out which of those are correctable, which of those are going to be lingering, and which of those they can overcome as they move on to the remainder of the season. There's still tons left, and they're still 6-3. So the bottom line in the whole thing is you wake up in first place, you're not like, man, we could have closed the gap a little bit more. No, you're still there, but your lead is getting tenuous right now, and it's all right there in front of you, Jags, and you're going to need to show up with a little bit more intensity when the Titans come to town next week. So if you want to be a part of it today on the All-Pro Roofing phone line, 641-1010 is the number. Also the number for the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. You can hit us up in the YouTube chat or hit us up on social media as well, at MD_1010XL, at 1010XL Fat Tony, at David Garrard 9, and at 1010XL Denmark.
Hold my pocket.
Pockets pouring one out for the Baldwin Indians today. Season came to a crashing halt, Tom.
Yes, 2/20/23. That was it.
That was
Friday
it.
night.
Fletcher, Dave, I'm told on the road didn't go so well.
Yeah, Tampa was it was rough. 51-30.
He did give out a Hardy Duval, though, before the game.
Yeah, you know, I
We were proud
was
of
trying to get the fans and the guys hyped, and I failed, I guess.
It's probably you.
It probably was.
Yeah.
Don't ever ask me
They
to
were
do it
ready
again.
to play, Tony, until they were.
I hope it didn't
Nah,
sound
it was
like that.
throaty, man. It was.
Okay.
It was. You had all the pipes going,
There you
man. It
go.
was fantastic, and of course, Tony helped shepherd Bowles to a victory.
Yeah,
as
that's
they,
what I do. Yeah.
It's Tony's calming presence, man.
Yeah.
He's got Bowles rolling. So at least one of those high school teams got the dub. And congrats to all the high school teams in the area that won and are moving on, whether we broadcast you or coach for you or not here. So you know the way to be a part of the program today, or the many ways to do it. So let's talk about it. Let's wallow in it. Got to deal with it. 34-3. San Francisco absolutely put the beating on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let's try to figure out how we can correct this with David Garrard in studio. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.